Welcome to Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash. Thanks for joining me here, week 16. And today we're going to be talking about keeping it small or making it big. You know, what is it that you want out of your business? If you're going to develop something, do you want to go small, which has a lot of good benefits to it? Or do you want to go with something that is going to take up a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, but has maybe a lot of potential? So we're going to be breaking that down, a lot of different experiences that I've had in my life on this specific subject, including over the last few years, my decision to pretty much toss away $10,000 a month of short-term profit and revenue for something that I'm hoping that will be bigger down the road. So personal experience, money on the line, good content to watch today, as well as some amazing domain names that we have. I'm excited about a couple of them. I can't wait to share them. One of them that I'm going to be sharing towards the end, I plan on making at least a couple good bids on, and I usually don't say that, but I'm going to reveal that later on in the show. So say hi to everybody in the chat. Make sure you like the video. I always appreciate that, and see you in the chat. Let's get started.
From a .com to a business idea, take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Okay, well, let me see. Michael, thanks for joining us here. I got a couple others. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I love to hear everybody here. I just had posted on Twitter just before this how my wife appreciates you coming, because me having this opportunity to talk to you is like business therapy. It's an opportunity to talk through business, because I'm an extrovert when it comes to business and ideas, and I like to talk them out loud. And unfortunately, when we've been locked down, the missus has gotten the brunt of it, and she's just a little tired of it. So. And hello there, Petru. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So today we are going to be talking about whether you should go big or keep it small, and the benefits, the obstacles. Well, there's a lot of fun to be had on both sides of it, and a lot of it can even come down to the domain name that you choose to build on. So more on that. But first, one of the main things that we do here on From Domain to Profit is we take domain names and we actually build businesses on them. We do that using the 3-minute business plan. So we're going to get right into that right now. So 3-minute business plan, you'll find on that URL down below. It's going to give you to this document here, which you may have it memorized by this point, but it takes a domain name. We look at the problem, the market for that domain name, the problem, then we come up with a solution, and hopefully we hit on most of the key points on this form, on this document outline over here, and the 3-minute business plan. So hopefully we take domain names and show you a business that can profit right on the other side, whether it's big, small, could be either one. So we want to start with our first 3-minute business plan. Let me pull that up. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we'll go with this one. So what I do is I go through and I look up, I did this live yesterday on Periscope over on Twitter, and I went through just page after page of hundreds and thousands of domain names, looking for some domain names to bring to you. And we actually have a lot of good ones. It was a good session, and I found some good ones, including this one here, CaliforniaOceanfront.com. CaliforniaOceanfront.com. Let's start the timer and build a business plan in 3 minutes. Okay, so California Oceanfront, first thing first is our audience and market. Pretty easy to see that we're going to be dealing with something real estate, whether it's rentals, purchases, selling something, something based on California Oceanfront. So market-wise, we're looking at people that are looking to travel, looking to buy, looking to relocate businesses over to California, specifically the oceanfront. Know there's a lot of hot real estate, and it's a goal for many people to relocate at some point to some majestic view over on the California oceanfront. So great domain name, authoritative. The problem is Problem is, people are looking for that space. It's very specific. I imagine if you're running through California MLS type listings, finding the ones that are specifically oceanfront are going to be pretty difficult to find out of the thousands of listings. So let's create a place that you can go specifically to solve the California oceanfront. So maybe a map of California with the different segments of available properties, whether it's land to build on or whether it's properties that are already there. And I'm thinking we go the route of the solution we can provide is giving real estate agents the opportunity to feature a property or list a property. Maybe they manually go and enter a property on this site, or even the owners themselves can do it, because everybody wants California real estate. It doesn't necessarily need to be through some kind of seller's agent. So, so a pretty good play there as far as a opportunity to create revenue. So I would say go with the listing service. I wouldn't go the route of trying to get in commission or anything like that, unless you're a real estate agent thinking about buying this. Solution is you can list your property for really cheap or even free, and then you can feature it. You can pay to feature that property. So it's going to be a per listing, maybe a 30, 60, 90-day listing, 20, 30 bucks per pop, maybe more. And then you could even have like services where people can maybe hire drones or something to come film their property. All kinds of different things, all centralized around California oceanfront. Very authoritative domain name if you're calling real estate agents or running ads, and you're saying, hey, I'm Drew, I'm with CaliforniaOceanfront.com, and we saw your listing, and we were wondering if you wanted to feature it or make sure you list it on CaliforniaOceanfront.com. Has a good ring. It has that authoritative name to it, and then from there it's going to be word of mouth and probably some different visibility ads or a lot of phone calls. We'll talk about brute force labor today a lot, because whether you want to go big or small, either way, you are going to be dealing quite a bit with the phone. The brute, making a bunch of calls. So let me see. Always when it comes down to developing a domain name, whether it's California oceanfront or any of the other amazing domain names that we have coming up today, truly amazing domains that are going to be up this week and this week only. That domain name's on the launch pad and it's ready to blast off. It's just looking for the crew. Who's going to buy it? And hopefully it's one of you. Hopefully it's a developer, somebody that's actually going to build it out and not just sit on it. And a couple more people joining us. Nice to see you, Vito. And Matt, nice to have you here. And Lee joining us from the other side. So it's afternoon for us, evening for him. I appreciate you all being here. And as I tweeted out, my wife appreciates it as well, because the more I talk to you guys and ladies, the more she doesn't have to deal with me. So let's do one more 3-minute business plan, and then we will dive into a little bit of content about whether we should go big, go small. And of course, later on, I'm going to reveal the one domain name. We'll do a 3-minute business plan on a domain name that I'm actually going to be bidding on later. So, okay, here we go. And next 3-minute business plan. Here, I do have a comment I just want to read real quick. Okay. So I'm aware that there is another domain-related meeting, but hey, it's recorded, and hopefully you can do both meetings, because there are some good domains coming up. So including this one, I'm going to share this one right off the top of the bat. This is one of my favorite domains this week. I will possibly be bidding on this one as well, galleryopening.com. galleryopening.com. I'm going to start the 3-minute timer. So I can't pretend to know the ins and outs of how the art world and galleries and how the money's made. But one thing I can tell you is I see a lot of signs, a lot of announcements for gallery openings. So I do know enough to know that real estate, a lot of times, if they do galleries, there's exhibits that are opening and closing and opening and closing on purpose. So gallery openings, galleryopening.com specifically, there's some turnover. There's some need for getting notice out there of a gallery opening. I'm sure there's social circles that specifically look for gallery openings and go do the wine and cheese thing at a gallery opening. I'm guessing that's a whole thing to do. But where do you find a gallery opening to go to? I don't know where that would be. You know where you could find gallery openings? How about galleryopening.com? And that is available this week. GoDaddy currently $12, ends in one day. So what I'm thinking we do is we have a calendar. We have things based on a date, the actual openings or the opening week or whatever, as well as different galleries that are currently even open. And then we have we can also go the route of, so we have by date, by location, find gallery openings and gallery events near you. Right over on galleryopening.com. And here's the cool thing about this one. So I think that's the problem and the solution. Hopefully that was kind of clear in there. Problem is, where do you find them? Solution is we can provide search by date and by location. Unique messaging is very much going to be, where do you find a gallery opening? Galleryopening.com, where we list all the gallery events available according to calendar and schedule, as well as location, the ones near and in your area. They will pay us I can see there being a membership where they pay us to list, keep updates and who's coming and when. So if they change out their gallery maybe every 3 months or so, they can say, here's who's next. We're basically a customized profile about their gallery. They can do a membership that way, or you can do per gallery opening. So the artists themselves might want to feature themselves. Authority is this art community, galleryopening.com. Like I said, I see it on signs. Anytime you're seeing it on signs, people are going to give a little bit of authority and say, hey, that matters to something that we're doing. And then the awareness is reach the artists, reach the galleries. I'm guessing you could probably find them out pretty quickly with some Google searches and database searches. And then you just bombard them with how amazing of a site you're going to create. So galleryopening.com, one of my favorites from today. And, so how would you develop it? Anybody out there, you may be more of an artist than me and have some interest in galleryopening.com. And I don't know. I think that's a fun one. That's certainly a pretty good domain name to look at. Like I said, that one's going to be over on GoDaddy. So what I want to do now is talk about this idea of going big or staying small. And I came up with this subject specifically because a lot of times people are asking me what they should do with their domain name. Specific domain. How should you develop it? And one of the first things I'm always asking people is, well, are you passionate about that industry? Because to be quite honest, a lot of times the domain name that becomes available is a great domain, but in an industry maybe you're not interested in. So maybe you have no interest in art whatsoever, but you see galleryopening.com and you're like, that's a good domain. I can see a business for that. And you go for it and you get it. So now what do? You either have a lot of passion for a subject or very little. I've had experience in both arenas. When we got into towing, I really didn't have much interest in towing. I say that the only thing that's really kept me in towing this entire time with towing.com is the fact that, it's entrepreneurship. It's all these, scrappy guys that are feeding their families with these tow trucks and serving us as we're broke down on the side of the road and things. Like, they are my why. They are why I have been able to stick with towing.com for so long. 13, 14 years now. But realistically, in towing.com, let me add, I would consider towing.com going big. A lot of decisions have been made along the way to choose to go big with towing.com. So what does big mean? Small versus big. Small is, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a small business. It just means probably less customers. You're focusing on getting just a few customers rather than trying to take on an entire industry. Like towing.com, we're taking on an entire industry worldwide as of some point on towing.com. And that's a pretty big thing. Now, you could go the route, especially if you had maybe a geo domain, like Cincinnati Towing, for example. CincinnatiTowing.com, there's probably no big play. There's probably no big option for that domain. I have no idea who owns it, by the way. So so you got to look at doing something small. Well, small has a lot of good characteristics with it. For example, if you need to make money quick, say you're buying a domain name and you're like, and it's a good domain name, and you're like, hey, I want to make maybe a few $1,000s or $1,000 from this, and I want to do it somewhat quickly. You always have to go small. Not all, you pretty much always have to go small, because realistically, small means you're very precise to a small number of customers, and you're doing something specifically for them. For example, not so much for example. The reason being, you can use scarcity and exclusivity when you're going small. So if you want to launch CincinnatiTowing.com, for example, you're going to be limited to just a few Cincinnati towing companies. Even if you went as big as you could, you're talking maybe 20, 30 companies. But realistically, you're just looking for that one or two that are willing to pay you a little bit of money to show up on that site. That's going small. You're selling exclusive. When we launched Towing.com, areas like Chicago, New York City specifically, some of the towing companies are very aggressive in those areas. They do a lot of marketing, spend a lot of money on showing up. And, those towing companies, they wanted to specifically buy out like their area. So they wanted to own Chicago. So towing.com/Chicago, and anyone searching in Chicago would find their company. Makes perfect sense. And we had offers to make, $1,000 or so for that specific area. So we could have stayed small and sold out exclusive areas, and we could have did that somewhat quickly. But realistically, we had a larger vision, and we wanted to go big with towing.com. And we also had another trick up our sleeves, which I'll share with you a little later. So that's one of the ways that you can go, one of the going big. Exclusivity, you can stay small if you sell something exclusive. But if you're looking to go large, you have to leave it a little more open to more of a community. So hopefully that made sense. It's one of the great selling tactics, if you have a great domain name, is to offer up exclusivity or scarcity. Like, the first one in this area will be the company that's listed there. It's only $250 a month. You get an exclusive 100-mile radius or something like that. So exclusivity, but the only thing is it's going to keep your site small. You're going to be limited to the companies that you get into business with, rather than possibly tens or hundreds of thousands of other customers. And so when it goes to the other side of things, if you want to go large, you can go scarce when it's small. But if you are looking for something big, you're typically going to be looking at a community. You want to build a lot of different companies into this. You want to be as inclusive as possible. How can you be inclusive? Well, you can give each unique company something to kind of own. Maybe, in towing.com, we give them each 40-mile radiuses that they show up in, and everything's based on who's closest. Maybe it's unique services that they provide, any number of different things. Ratings, reviews give you a way to kind of choose and add a layer of giving people more exposure on the site. So communities on the large side, exclusivity on the small side. So I'd be curious to know, does anybody have a project that they're working on that they're trying to make this decision between small and big? For me, I made a decision a few years ago. with one of our business lines. It's on the lead side. We had a service called Auto Transport Leads, and we sold leads to auto transport companies. So these are the companies that are shipping vehicles nationwide. You hear me talk about them in examples pretty frequently. So the way that we did this with the leads is we made $10 per lead. We sell a lead out to 10 companies. They each pay us $1, and we've sold a few thousand leads per month. And then we did that for many years. And then eventually we wanted to we wanted to go a little big. Like we were limited. Like, how do we grow this part of our business? Well, our only option was to get more leads, right? We couldn't add new customers. We were restricted to, I think we had 14 companies that rotated in on the different leads that we had. But those were our only 14 customers. We couldn't do anything to attract the hundreds or thousands of other companies that are out there. And what changed was we bought the industry-defining domain name for that industry, which is cartransport.com. We bought cartransport.com, and I'm like, okay, well, it's the industry domain. It defines the entire industry. It can't just be for 14 companies. It can't just be for the companies that are our leads customers. So we're going to need to make a shift. We're going to need to go from small, fewer customers. And yes, it was making good money, but small for us it was restricted. There's a lot of different things that happen with it. For example, selling leads. I don't like to do them. I don't necessarily, there's not much value to your customers, to the visitors to your sites. And we do a lot through SEO. So if you can't provide value to your visitors, what quality you're going to be actually, providing as a website. So hopefully that made sense. I rage against lead sites. That's why I'm so high on directory sites. Is like, leads are not customers focused. They are business focused, which, yes, they can make money, but you're so much better off providing value to your customers by providing more content, more of a community, more companies. So what we did was we decided to pivot. And the way that we pivoted was we took our lead sites, and we went from selling $10 per lead, and we decided to actually shut it down, and we went to a membership-based service. So hopefully that camera works. But so the membership service, basically people pay us a few $100s, currently $180, and they get as many quotes as we can create. If we get 10,000 in a month, they get them all. And if they get $2,000 or 2,000 quotes, they can get 2,000 quotes. The key thing is, and this is where we're able to provide more value to our visitors, we hide the visitor's identity. We don't share the email address or the customer name with the companies that are providing prices. Getting into the weeds a little bit on that business, but basically what it allowed us to do is improve our product and service offering to our customers, to the visitors to the site. And that improved service is going to allow us to increase the number of people coming to the site, increase the quality of service we provide, which is going to create more leads. Now, we're not making money on the lead. The membership itself is just a way to hold onto what we're doing a little bit, because our end game, the big picture that we're going for is to charge and make a little bit per order. So it's a different business model for us, but the idea of making 5 to 10% of any order that came to our site suddenly add a zero or so to our monthly numbers. So that's the big play. And we can do that with dozens and dozens and dozens of auto transport companies, really opening it up and serving that entire industry, rather than just having 14 companies that pay us a nice, fixed per lead site rate. So that's a little bit of so we've made the decision to basically turn off the short-term lead program and move over to that membership option, because we're going long and going big on the auto transport lead side. And we've been years in the making of that, and we're going to make some progress this winter. So anyhow, but that's the thing. If you're going big, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of energy, and that's why you need to have passion for whatever it is you're going to be doing if you're going big. You hate the industry, stick small. If you love the industry or have really a real good fire in your belly, go big. Go big, go all in, spend all the time. You're going to be making so many sales calls and spend so much time. Like, I hope I don't sugarcoat it, but the fact is, you spend a ton of time on sales. And like, if you're starting your company, you have to count on getting on the phone and doing a lot of customer contacts. If you're not willing to do that, almost no business idea I can give you here today is going to be successful. I've not found a way to put something out there as a black box and just have customers give me money. Like, I've not figured that out yet. I don't think that's actually a thing. I'd be curious to know if that's like, who's able to be, like, it takes a lot of money or a lot of time. If you have a lot of money, put out videos, put out a bunch of ads. Maybe you can do it that way. But for the most part, for me, I found that, you can do little bursts of sales calls, but if you're going to do more, quantity, can you do 50 sales calls every single day for, months and months and months? Like, to get to 1,000 some customers, you're talking about just crushing it for long periods of times. I think it took us like 3 years or something to get to 1,000 companies on Tony.com. Like, it's a long time. And I had salespeople and stuff. So, okay. Hopefully that's some good information. Let me see if I have any other things here. Well, I was just going to say, like, when you're going small, one of the things you can do is use short bursts of energy. I have a theory or a motto of mine, which is work hard once. You can work hard once, do a bunch of work in a week or two, and generate some money going forward. So monthly subscriptions or something. Small allows you to do that. Once you get those 10 customers, or you build out the site, then you get your 10 to 14 customers. You really don't have much to do unless you're being a service provider. Things are done as of that point. You're making that short burst of energy allowed you to have a business. Now, it probably won't be the largest business, but you don't need a bunch of, it doesn't matter. It's okay being small. Okay, let me see here. Vito asks, how would you sell certain area location searches to multiple businesses, though, if you had like 10 businesses who want, it continues, if you had 10 businesses to sell the same zip codes? Okay, let me just read this again in my head. Okay. So he's at basically, what if you have a lot of people that want the same zip code? One, I just want to say that I don't like leads. I don't think the leads serve the customer the best. They're a way to make money, but with that said, if you have 10 companies that want those leads, what we always did on our lead side, it was unique. Nobody else in that industry does it even still. If you wanted a exclusive lead or a semi-exclusive, so you and one other person, you would pay $5. So basically we took the lead and divided by the number of companies that was getting that lead and charge that amount. So if you wanted $5 leads, it's just you and one other company that you're competing against. If you want 10 or only dollar leads, you're going to be competing against 9 companies. We still make the same $10, but they got to choose how many people they're competing against. And then we tried to serve our visitors by allowing them to choose how many people they heard from, how many customers they heard from. That's one of the things you'll find in leads. And if you're looking at doing a lead site, you'll find that companies have a major sales process. They have all kinds of different, email campaigns. They have, different sales funnels. And basically what we were hearing from our lead sites is a lot of people were complaining about spam, because we would send the lead off to the companies, and then you'd have 10 companies emailing them, And then most of those 10 companies would do follow-up emails, and one quote, one lead from us could result in, hundreds of emails to that customer. And they started, they were often trying to blame us. It's like, hey, we sent your information off to these companies just like we said we were going to. We don't have an off switch for these companies. That's up to you. Like, you just have to tell them to stop emailing you. So low service. So does that answer your question? That's kind of the question. So you can divide the lead up over 10 companies, I guess, is one option, or you can provide exclusivity. Either way, you should make the value of the lead. If you're providing exclusive leads, that should be better. Now, if you're going to directory, like towing.com, for example, how we've overcome sharing a specific area with multiple companies is first come, first serve. So in that specific zip code, the first company to sign up gets that top listing for that zip code forever. That's just like, thanks for being number one. It's one of the ways that we add some exclusivity to get them to act right away, especially at first. Number one in that zip code is always the same company. Then outside of that, it's based on distance. So who's closest to that customer is one way that you can sort things. If you're in an industry, that location doesn't matter all that much, and it's kind of a metro area like Cincinnati, they might just want a Cincinnati wedding photographer. They might not care where they're actually located. In that case, I would probably do a first come, first serve with a couple different options to sort by, maybe do it by name, do it by maybe years on site, time on site. If you have ratings and reviews on your site, you can allow them to choose to show the highest rated one. Or you could do the option of a tiered membership, and they pay to be listed, but then they could also pay to upgrade to be featured. And that featured spot is above the normal ones. So hopefully there's some ideas in there for you, Vito, to help you separate out a specific area. And all those things can be done if, say, you're running CincinnatiTowing.com. Those could be options as well. So let me see. Went over some of the different things between big and small. Hopefully there's some good stuff to kind of separate out for you. It all comes down to sales, though. Sales are going to happen at a certain pace. You're not going to be able to speed it up necessarily even by adding salespeople. It's going to be a time, long tail thing. And I will also add it, if you go big, you're typically charging less per customer, so you need more of them. Where if you went exclusive, it may charge $100 per month for a specific city. That's the only customer you'll have instead of three $40 customers. But you're stuck there. So as your site grows, you're limited to that one customer now. And that's one of the big trade-offs that we talk about. Let me just talk about this for another minute, because that put a thought in my head. We think about this quite often in our planning, in our company. We'll add a new domain name, and a lot of times we can put up a website on a domain name really quickly. We're very good at it. The only thing is, what we can't do is necessarily sell the memberships on that site as quickly as what we can build them. We can build them a lot faster than what we can run them. So the question becomes, so what if we sold out the homepage to two companies and just let them pay us like a couple $100 or $500 to be the exclusive, like bartenders.com. Boom, there's just a couple ads right on the homepage, and take that short-term win and make some money. Well, we choose to always go long on all of our sites and try to wait until we can make a good run at actually building up that business and getting lots of customers. That's our choice. There's no right answer on small or big. It's just a matter of what you want to do. And for us, we do spend, we typically go long. We go long on domain names, even if we know we're going to be losing money in the short term. So hopefully that's helpful. And I do have one more tip on domain name, but I want to do a couple more 3-minute business plans before I kind of wrap up with that thought. So with that said, let's fire through 2 or 3-minute business plans. Next one we will go with, let's try so many domains that I really love this show. So I'm just going to try to go through them here. Let's go with webprojectmanager.com. Webprojectmanager.com, starting 3-minute timer because we got lots to do. Lots of good domains. So webprojectmanager.com, the market's going to be something to do with web project managing. Makes sense. So basically, Web Project Manager, I see it as I like the idea of going with a SaaS tool. So software as a service. Have you ever heard of Basecamp? Maybe you use Basecamp. It's a really basic tool for. Let me see if I can even show this. So I'm gonna hide me. Go to screens. I'll show you my Basecamp internally if I. Okay, so here is my Basecamp. Can you see that? Okay. So this is a bunch of inside information. Don't be reading my screens, but this is Basecamp, and Basecamp allows us to like organize a bunch of different things on our sites. And what it allows us to do is basically organize our projects. And let's see if I can bring myself back up. Okay, there I am. So Basecamp's but it's a really basic tool. It has some chat stuff, message boards, to do like a really basic to-do list. Everything is super basic, and I think we've been paying them, $40-$60 a month to have that tool to organize our team. So webprojectmanager.com, keep it simple. Go with a simple tool to help organize some type of project. I mean, I was thinking more like web design, web business type management, but I guess Web Project Manager could be any project. I'm going to stick to websites though. I think like a Basecamp type site or service could be a really good thing. And I'd say even keep it more simple than Basecamp. Use one simple thing, create maybe a really good to-do list where you can assign it to different people, assign time frames, and then Web Project Manager, they pay like $50 a year or something super cheap, and you just get started on developing this domain into a to-do list thing. I don't know. I think it's a great. I mean, realistically, you see it in your pay-per-click ads. If you saw webprojectmanager.com, which I'm sure is a good keyword. Let me try to pull this up real quick. Hi, Drew. And go back to screens. So hopefully you can see, if we were to search out Web Project Manager. So we're looking up the exact match for this keyword. Low volume, so 170 searches specifically for it. But you can see, Project Manager 170. Really nothing spectacular happening. Well, in that case, maybe we just have to like it ourselves. And do you like it enough to add it? Okay. 3-minute Web Project Manager. Kind of curious who all anybody interested in that one. I like it if you're a developer and want to put together, like maybe you've made a tool where you can repurpose a tool that you've maybe made for yourself or for your internal team on how to organize your time. Boom, put a user lock on the front side, username, password, and repurpose a tool that you've already made for yourself. So one option as well. Okay, we're going to go right into another 3-minute business plan. And that's the one. These are so good. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. So I was asked about this one by my developer, Matt. He was like, travel staffing? What the heck is travel staffing? And here's what I'm thinking on that. Let's start the timer. So the market, well, I say obviously, but so the market is going to be something to do with staffing, employees, something to do with travel staffing. I love it when the domain just tells us what we need to do. So, but what the heck is travel staffing? Well, from my knowledge, a lot of travel industries and a lot of tourist destinations are very seasonal, and seasonal areas a lot of times will bring employees in from other locations to work the busy season. So travel staffing can be, so the problem is, how do you find those employees? How do you get remote employees to come live and work there for some period of time. Disney does this. All theme parks do it. All kinds of different tourist type services staff their attractions with remote employees that drive in and work there for like the summer or for some busy period of time. So travelstaffing.com I view as being where you can find those kinds of opportunities. So it's very much a jobs board. I've been talking to Peter Askew. He runs cooljobs.com, and I just bought mechanicjobs.com from him late last week. And he has me I've bought into this whole job idea, finding jobs. And niche job sites, so job sites specific to a certain area, can thrive. A lot of people still post their stuff on, Craigslist, for goodness sake. Why they would torture themselves like that, I don't know. But they do it because they want a lot of exposure. Well, even better than a lot of exposure is getting exposure to the right people. So niche sites that deal with a specific topic, for example, travel staffing, is the perfect job type board. So travel staffing is where you would go if you're looking for a job in a specific location, like a seasonal basis. Like, I've always wanted to live in Key West, Florida, and I'm willing to go scoop ice cream for the summer just so I can be down there for the summer. That's the kind of thing that can happen on travelstaffing.com. Location, date, and time specific search, where I can post something I'm open to, but then of course companies can post their job listings there and say like, hey, Disney or some theme park, we're hiring ride operators, something like that, and they're paying per job. So it's a job board type business. So very much, pay $20, $30, $100 per job posting. It gets featured, goes out to the mailing list. Go check out cooljobs.com. You'll see the business model spelled out just by what it is that they do on Peter's site. Good stuff. So, okay. My buttons are messing up. Hopefully that doesn't. Okay. So there's travelstaffing.com. And I want to go into another 3-minute business plan. Well, actually, let me just make this one point that I wanted to say on as far as the domain names, and that is your domain name. It should deliver on the promise that is the domain name. It should deliver on it. So if you are travelstaffing.com, I just implore you, as that domain owner, develop it in a way that it delivers on the promise of being a travel staffing website. Whether it's travel staffing or California oceanfront, when we have these authoritative domain names, we have an opportunity to give visitors to our sites exactly what they're looking for, with the side effect of if we deliver on the promise of that domain name really well, we're also going to do really well for search engines for those specific keywords. So if you run California oceanfront and you do a great job of targeting that specific industry, you're going to be able to show up in the search engines, because Google wants to show whoever is best on their, give them the traffic. And if you're CaliforniaOceanfront.com doing a great job on it, then they're going to show you're going to get more traffic and develop your business that way. So when it comes to travel staffing or any of the different sites that we've talked, galleryopening.com, that domain name is telling a story. It's telling you what it wants to be. And I just ask that one of the, part of why I do this show is because I'm hoping that these domains can live up to their promise, that they can provide the visitors to them, the businesses in those industries, the opportunity to be involved in a great domain name. So don't be selfish is kind of the gist of it. But it also plays into the idea of going big or staying small. Sometimes the domain name is going to decide that for you. If you go Cincinnati, towing.com or CincinnatiRealEstate.com or something, you're going to be very location based, and it's going to end up being small. Where if you go with a industry defining domain name, so something like towing that just represents an entire industry, there's a lot of big things that you can do with that domain name. So depending on what your domain name is going to decide part of whether you're going to go small or go big. Either way, you got to live up to the promise of that domain name. Especially see this with domain names like nearby. If your domain name is saying find find a gardener nearby.com, gardenernearby.com, and you go there and it's a lead page. I don't know, that drives me nuts. I lead sites when they're like saying that I'm going to find companies nearby. Show me the stinking companies that are nearby me and let me contact them directly. Anyhow, I've been bashing leads a lot. Okay, 3-minute business plan. Choked on some quinoa earlier, so I'm like hoping I don't have to cough again. 1 second. Okay. So here we go. Next domain name up. Hopefully all my settings here work. And holographicdisplays.com. I mentioned this one. Yesterday I found these domain names. I did it live right on Twitter. This was one that I was kind of excited to find. This is on dropcatch.com. Many of the domain names that I mentioned are actually on GoDaddy auctions. This one's on dropcatch.com, and basically how that works is they try to register domain names that the old owner let drop or let expire. They grab those domain names, and if enough people want it, it goes up to auction, which holographicdisplays.com is one of them. Starting the timer now, and that ends in 2 days, which on the screen you can see when these domain names end. So holographicdisplays.com. This is a long domain name, long tail domain name. Like by that I mean, I don't think there are holographic displays right now. Like not true holographic displays. Maybe someday there will be. But if you buy this domain name, you're probably going to be looking a couple years out before you really get something to promote on it. In the meantime, there's lots of little things that you can do to benefit and develop a business on it. People that are looking for holographic displays, the market, are probably looking for something unique for their trade show or their storefront. They're looking for something that's attention-getting. And there's opportunities out there still along the lines of maybe 3D lighting, or even putting virtual reality headsets in your booth or in your storefront. There's things you can do that may not live up to holographic displays, but are the precursors or the starting points. And so I see holographic displays, high-tech products for trade shows to get attention to your booth or your exhibit or your storefront or whatever it is that you're dealing with. And I see there being an opportunity to pretty much sell products, unless you're developing a product. So holographicdisplays.com. If you can find affiliate products, I think there's some out there. I don't know. So, okay, so that's going to be over on Dropcatch. Holographic displays. I think you're going to be selling stuff. Probably selling some cool stuff. Probably do some cool videos, show off some demos, and sell it. And you have this authoritative domain name. And then someday down the road, when we truly get holographic stuff, you're going to be able to kick some butt and have a really unique site, unique opportunity. So maybe you can go big with that and just know that it's going to take a long time to get there. Alrighty, button pressing. Okay, all kinds of cameras around here. What do you think? You like the different I like to play. I like to mess with things. So I have another great domain name that I'm going to bring up here. I don't a lot of times bring up domain names that are going to end up being expensive. I like to bring you opportunities that are going to be, if you're my nephew Michael who wants to start a web business and just comes onto this show. I like him to be able to see, I like the public to be able to see domain names that they can buy and build on without mortgaging their house to buy the domain name. I mean, that's a huge ask for somebody that doesn't like really understand domain names. So a lot of times I stick to lower price domain names. This is not going to be one of those cases. So over on Snap Names, you'll find this domain name here, Dines.com. So again, this is not GoDaddy Auctions. This is snapnames.com. And Snapnames is another one that you can do private auctions, or they also will grab domain names that expire. And this one is one, it may go up for auction. The old owner may still renew it, but if not, you have to join the auction. So you have to put a back order on this domain name by November 13th is what that means. So you'd need to go over to snapnames.com, find dines.com, and you need to join that auction. You just have to be willing to say you're willing to pay $69 for dines.com. Single word, plural domain name, starting a 3-minute business plan. So when I found this domain name, I saw it as the plural of dine. Then I did a little bit of searching over on SEMrush for the keyword dines. And basically what I found was dines is most commonly a last name. There's most of the keyword comes from, most of the keyword volume is people looking for people's names. So I guess dines is a last name. I've never known a dines before, but evidently there's quite a few of them. I don't see any reason to turn this into a domain name that, even though there could be a market of people with the last name Dines, maybe you can create some kind of personal homepage profile thing. I don't like that kind of, I don't like those consumer-based businesses. I like the idea of Dines being a blog for foodies. So, hey, if you're a food blogger or interested in sharing your dining experiences, you don't just have to post your photos on Instagram of all the meals you've ate. You can post them, share them over on dines.com, and write your reviews, and hopefully develop being known as an expert in that industry. So dines.com is maybe Drew would have a dines.com profile, and you can go there. And I said yesterday, I love to travel, and I like to go to bars and restaurants as high up in the city as I can find it. So I said that if I was to build a Dines profile for myself, it would be Drew rating and review of all the, highest bars and restaurants in all the different cities. So very niche, but it would be a blogging site for foodies. So I don't know. So how do you monetize a blogging site? Typically it's through ads. And I would say that you could possibly offer some tools. You could probably do some ads and promotions where restaurants are trying to attract more attention. So they invite Dines people to come and to review their business or something. And they offer them exclusive coupons to Dines bloggers. Okay, there's a rabbit hole happening here. Certainly some different opportunities to do. In Dines.com, it's going to cost you $69 potentially to get into it. You only pay if you win, which you're not going to win at $69. This domain name, single word, because it's plural, it might stay in the 4-figure range. If it was Dine.com, forget about it. It'd be ridiculous. So there you go. That is a broad domain name with a lot of different opportunities. I'm very curious as to whoever ends up getting that, how they plan on, well, if you were to buy it for development purposes, how would you develop it? What would you do with it? I think that there's a lot of opportunity. I love that domain name. I love food. I don't have any domains in food really. That's another one. I've already put up my $69 to join that. We'll see how far I go. That is not the domain name that I mentioned. And because we're coming up on the hour, I'm going to share with you, I'm going to try to get through 3 domain names. All 3 of them, here's the secret bonus, all 3 of these domain names I will be bidding in. I don't know if I'll go for the top bid or not. I'm going to try to go through 3 domain names real quick, back to back to back. Where did you get your domain name signs in the back? Oh, so these back here. all these different signs, I cut them out of styrofoam. Yeah, I didn't pay anybody for those. I like making stuff. I'm a maker, so I love creating stuff and playing with toys. And so yeah, I had these styrofoam that came when we bought some desks that we bought. They had these big styrofoam sheets, and I was like, we can cut this and make cool signs. So I bought a styrofoam cutter, and I just sat around playing for a weekend, cut them out, and then my wife painted some of them. So wish I had some. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the what I'm answering. Outlive the outbreak. He asked that question there, and that's what I was talking about. My little Drew rant. So, okay, let me try to get through. I can't imagine I'll get through 3 of these. I might just hold you guys. Okay, let's just get going. So here's the one that if you were to look at a list of domain names that I pulled aside, you would probably pick this one out and say, yes, I know Drew loves this one. So starting 3-minute timer, localmarketplace.com. I mean, right there, like seriously, if you watching From Domain to Profit, you realize how much I love local stuff and how much I love marketplace type domain names, as far as like sharing things out. So localmarketplace.com, I will be participating in this auction. I don't know if I'm the high bidder or not. It'll go for more than this, so I don't mind telling you that. So, but localmarketplace.com ends in 6 days, already up over $400. I would love to get it. Probably not going to be the winner, so please bid what you want. Chances are, I would love to have it, but realistically, I'm probably not going to be willing to spend what it's going to take to get it. So localmarketplace.com, the audience could be any number of different things. That's what I like about this domain name. It's specific, authoritative. The promise of local marketplace. Wow, what a they have, what is it? Black Friday is for national retailers, and then they have like Small Business Monday or Tuesday, like the week after. Man, get this domain name, get it developed. By that point, you have a few weeks. Localmarketplace.com. I like the idea of, people want to do business with their local businesses. It's a pain in the butt. Like, local businesses are not good at making things convenient. Like, half the time you don't even know they're there until you walk some random street and find some random store and go in. Not a great way to have customer acquisition. Maybe localmarketplace.com is the solution to help local businesses get more web exposure, to have more people walking down the internet find their local business. That is one option. I've also wanted to always do this may be a good domain for it and why I'm interested in it. I want a farmer's market or a craft show marketplace search engine. I like those little things, little farmer markets or those little craft shows that pop up occasionally, but they're so random that like half the time I only see them when I'm driving by them because like how do you even know that's happening? Anyhow, so I would like local marketplace to be a calendar-based, location-based search engine of local marketplaces, especially the pop-up ones, the craft shows, the even rummage sales, farmers markets, those kinds of things. And yeah, there's going to be some that are probably pay month to month or annual memberships because they're always there, flea market type things. But I'm really interested in getting those ones that are like, hey, we're going to be here this weekend out of this month, and we want to post it, $20 to list or something like that. Localmarketplace.com over on GoDaddy, fun authoritative domain name. So local marketplace, how would you develop it? I'm very I love a domain name, and as always, I wouldn't mention I'm gonna bid on something if I say that and I welcome you to bid against me. If you win, you win. Just please develop it. Live up to the promise of that domain name. So let me just mention the domain names that we have left because we're not going to get to all of them. We have bookyourstay.com. Bookyourstay.com. I'll just run these through the screen here so you can see them. Bookyourstay.com is over on GoDaddy, ends in 3 days, currently over $500. Smallbusinessbrokers.com ends in 3 days, over $145. And then trackingprograms.com, $12 currently. How this one's hiding under the radar at $12. All 3 of these I will certainly be putting a bid in on because I deal a lot with transportation. Tracking programs falls right in line with that. The one I want to do, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going a little over because I love this domain name, smallbusinessbrokers.com. Smallbusinessbrokers.com. I'm not even going to start the clock because I think it's a pretty straightforward one. There are companies that sell small businesses. There's buyers and sellers of small businesses. List them on smallbusinessbrokers.com. Like it's a plural domain name. So the traffic you're going to be able to generate, the authority of the domain name, the promise of that domain name is that you're going to be able to find small businesses and specifically small business brokers on this site. So businesses for sale, or you can list your businesses to sell. A per fee or even commission base type site, and that one's currently $145. And so good stuff. Let me see. Yeah, and Michael just mentioned it may be based on the camera and stuff. So anyhow, so that's your kind of bonus 3-minute business plan in under 3 minutes. So we've covered quite a few domain names today. I love so many good domain names. Hopefully you're going to be bidding on some of them, or if nothing else, hopefully your imagination took off and you've really come up with something creative for whatever business it is that you're out to develop. And whether you want to go big or you want to go small with your business, either way, I do hope that you'll, with whatever domain name you look to develop, live up to the promise of that domain name. Hopefully at some point I'll live up to the promise of the hundreds of domain names that I have. So if you don't already, make sure you're following this video so you get notified of any YouTube notifications. I do plan on starting to go live more impromptu throughout the week. I don't know when. It just kind of whenever I feel up for it, whenever I think I'm going to be setting up. So make sure you're following on YouTube, or you can watch for me on Twitter as well. For those kind of impromptu live sessions. Otherwise, join me back here on Monday, because every Monday, week 17, we're going right for weeks number 17 of From Domain to Profit. Thank you for joining me. I greatly, greatly appreciate you coming and spending some time with me. Take care.